Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm Seiben here for the Aether Hub, bringing you a video slightly different from the norm. Now, usually I just talk about cards and lore and stuff, but I've also recently been getting a lot into the Pauper format. I know, shocking, right? If you're unawares of Pauper, it's simply a constructed format in which you can only use cards at common rarity. So, as long as they've ever been printed at common, they're legal. Easy peasy. So, of course, with a bunch of new commons coming with Amonkhet, I began thinking about possible additions to decks I've been working on, and honestly, this set has a lot of interesting things to work with. Now, I ain't no Pauper champion or even expert, but still, here are 5 cards from Amonkhet I'm excited for in Pauper. Number 5, Sacred Cat. So, it may or may not come as a surprise, but I really love Aristocrat decks. It's a deck already strong in Pauper, and was one of the most fun I played in Standard when it was relevant. Some new cards in Amonkhet make it look as if the deck could make a comeback in Standard, but what can it do for Pauper? Well, when this pretty kitty was spoiled, people started to take note on how it could be used in the format. It's like Doomed Traveler, a resilient body that you can sack and get back with very little trouble. Of course, the cat has lifelink rather than flying, and you do have to pay that embalm cost, but hey, let's not get too greedy now. It still does what you need it to do, be cheap and come back after being sacked to Carrion Feeder. That being said, will it be enough to put black-white aristocrats ahead of more prominent black-green decks? Probably not, and maybe this is all just me wanting to push Aristocats as a deck name. Nevertheless, I still want to do something with Sacred Cat. Maybe a token deck of some kind. At number 4, we have Cradle of the Accursed. What an interesting and super unique card for Pauper. To my knowledge, Pauper doesn't have anything with like a manland effect like this, even though it's not on the same level as like actual manlands. The bad thing is, you gotta sack it for the creature rather than it becoming a creature until end of turn, and it providing a colorless mana isn't all that great either. But at least that makes it flexible, and honestly it's that flexibility that will allow Cradle of the Accursed, at least in my opinion, to do something somewhere in Pauper. It's good for slower decks who just want a mana dump, getting a decent creature out of a useless land. It's good for control decks who just plunder their opponent's board, get to that super late game, and spring an extra creature on them. Not to mention the always positive fact that the zombie it creates can't be countered. As I said, it's interesting and I'm no expert, but something about this desert land makes me want to try it. Coming in at number 3, kind of a sleeper pick for me, Thresher Lizard. Now, when I say sleeper pick, I'm not saying I'm a genius and I'm calling it great before anyone else. No, I mean, it was a sleeper to me. I saw this and kinda just brushed it aside as just another bad stat for cost common not worthy of a second look. It actually took others online to convince me otherwise, arguing that in aggro decks this lizard is just amazing. Playing off the whole discard madness cycling theme from Amonkhet, Thresher Lizard and Pauper will almost always be a 4/4 for 3, which is the bench for a decent stompy creature. Of course, you can pair it well with other aggro creatures who discard, like Wild Mongrel, and has the potential to completely pop off with Gaithan Raiders, all of which complement each other very nicely. In this aggro style, you'll be wanting to play spells all the time, keeping your hand size small. Along with the help of these cards, this lizard stands to be a big threat. And wouldn't you know it, it's the best friend in the world for team or battle rage, combining to make for a pretty quick kill. Number 2 is Cartouche of Strength. Now, while all of the Cartouche cycle are at common and provide some unique effects, it's the green strength one I'm most excited for in Pauper. Sure, the white one's good for tokens, but let's move on before I change my mind. Cartouche of Strength isn't cheap, giving you the Prey Upon effect for 3 times the price. But you can't forget the added value of the bonus buff. Green wants to make things big. This helps in that and gives trample. Say goodbye to weenies causing you headaches. The real reason I like it is because simply it's a value card. It's removal in green that also buffs a creature, not to mention doubles your life gain with things like Armadillo Cloak. While I can see the Cartouche of Strength being included in a couple of decks, it'll probably do something fancy with its aura typing. I know enchantment aura decks are a thing in Pauper, they're just not my thing. And to top my list of cards from Amonkhet I'm excited to see in Pauper, take aim baby, it's Supernatural Stamina. Remember when I said I was a super big fan of aristocrats? Well, then you already knew this card got my heart pumping the second it was spoiled. Despite my love for a possible Aristocats deck, Supernatural Stamina is going to be the card from Amonkhet that really impacts Pauper, at least in that department. It has a pretty similar effect to cards like Undying Evil, which, makes the deck work. Only difference is you lose the 1/1 counter in exchange for the ability to cast it on the same creature over and over again. It actually works in conjunction with Undying Evil very nicely. These two cards together gives your sack outlets a lot to play with, and a lot for your opponents to grind through. And that added power on top makes for a nice combat trick. The reason I think this will be seen more so than Sacred Cat is simply because it's black, meaning it can be an addition to the strong green-black deck that works well in Aristocrats. Because, well, Hunger of the Howpacks and Young Wolf are things. And yep, that's gonna do it guys, 5 cards from Amonkhet I'm excited to play with in Pauper. Remember, I'm a pretty big noob to the format, and this is the first real set I've actually started to examine its commons in this way. So why don't you more experienced Pauper players help me along? Let me know what you think about these cards and others from Amonkhet in regards to Pauper in the comment section below. As always guys, if you enjoyed the video, consider supporting the hub here on YouTube by leaving a like and subscribing for more awesome MTG content. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time here on the Aether Hub.